I think I'm fairly well aware with some of the world events. I can't say all of them.
I think that the major world events I know about, like the one where Ireland wanted to split off, I believe it was that.
When I was in school, no, not at all. When I was in school, they didn't talk about a lot of world events, you know, except for the wars going on, things like that. We knew it was going on.
I'm educated on a few world events, but school doesn't educate us that well with the world events, and they could do a much better job of doing that, because mainly in history we're only learning about the history of our country against Britain, so we're only learning a little bit about Britain.
I know Darfur is part of Africa. I do know that there's ethnic cleansing going on there, and it has been for quite a number of years now.
I wouldn't know, because I don't know anything about that, how oblivious this world is. Genocide is the systematic killing of a race, a group, a religion.
Genocide is a belief that a certain people is different to the point to where you want to kill them. I get irritated because I feel we don't do enough at times, and yet we can't be the world police. Until we're asked to come in, I don't believe we should force our way in.
Yeah.
Even though it's so disgustingly wrong.
I personally believe that politics can be very annoying, because no matter what time of year you normally hear what the political events are, I care what's going on in other countries more than I care here, because it can therefore affect us. Like when certain countries split off with each other, that can still go over and affect all of us. Plus it's more interesting.
We're such a global economy that whatever Europe does, whatever the euro does, it affects the dollar. Whatever Japan does, and the yen, it affects the dollar. And so, yes, I do care. I care politically and ethically, but I'm not sure exactly how far to take that.
Most of my friends agree with my viewpoint on that. They don't care much about America. They're more interested in what's going outside of America. But some of them, they don't care at all, while some do care.
We've talked about some of the things. We haven't talked about Darfur specifically, but I can remember when the Balkans was going on and people were disappearing throughout like Macedonia and Kosovo, and but I can remember when all that was going on, we were all just kind of like stunned, and we knew that ethnic cleansing was going on. Yes.
Yeah.
Especially in today's society. I think today's society is such a pampered society that we don't want to get our, and this is really hard because I don't want to put boots on the ground and have our people get killed, and yet at the same time I feel a need to do something. I don't know that that means boots on the ground, but something. And again, we're talking thousands of miles away, we're not talking across the street, so what's a guy like me do? It's really hard because we are a pampered society. We do care, I think, to a large degree. Once people find out, they get up in arms. But I think to a degree as well, people like to stay blind. Ignorance is bliss.
Definitely. I know when we started just studying what genocide was, it was saying like the government would be rewording what genocide was and saying, no, that's not genocide, that's not genocide, that's not genocide, even though it truly was, because it had the steps of genocide in it. Well, genocide normally is known as a bad thing, so people who are actually committing the genocide know that they're committing the genocide. They tend to try and cover it up. And some people, they don't want to know about it. They don't want to get into it because they don't want to have it happen to them.
I do think that the young kids of today have got a responsibility to know what's going on around the world, and if they can figure something to do, if there's an organization they could hook up with, they can do something. The older generation does too, but we're kind of more the financiers anymore as opposed to, and I don't want to say not the doers of it, but we're more the financiers as opposed to feet on the ground.
Well, we could study more, since we're still concentrating more on America, we could study more rather than just history, because we're only studying what history is.
Yeah.
They can incorporate more of what's currently happening to at least compared to what's happening then, like with slaves. Yes, this is still happening now. It's still a genocide now. We can combine it more into social studies rather than just studying history, which even if you're studying history, it doesn't mean you're able to know about the events to be able to stop with the history you know.
People don't like bad news. We hear enough of it on the news every day, and it's enough to get really depressed over. But I think that our news should stop being so tailored to tickling ears and tell the truth what's going on around the world.